Week 1, very exciting. Week 2, very exciting. Week 3, very exciting. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the NFL, of course. Willie Epting Jr., welcome to another episode of the Ballers Report podcast right here on the Warzone Sports Network. Just in case you didn't understand the theme of what I was saying, this is going to be an NFL heavy show. You know that because of a myriad of reasons, and not just because my Oakland A's are undefeated. I'm sorry, my Oakland Raiders or not even Oakland. My Las Vegas Raiders are undefeated. Not even because we have the number one record in the AFC West, but because it's NFL, it's football, and it is back. And who better to chop it up with than your boy, Willie Epting Jr. So, without further ado, let's get it.
Right about now, you're about to be possessed by the sounds.
Yeah, I know what it is. You little suckers get to talking, grabbing out walking, strapped to the pong of their jaws and smacking they sleep with the coffins. And they getting greedy like saying, give me all.
Buddy, you already know what it is, man, when you hear that music. Ballers Report podcast, Warzone Sports Network. It's your boy, Willie Epting Jr., man. Holding it down, rolling solo this episode, but it's all good. It is all to the good. So, again, thank you guys for checking us out on YouTube as well as Periscope. This also will be going straight to all of your podcasting platforms, to include iTunes, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. Make sure you smash the subscribe button. Give us a follow on Twitter at Shakeback Media Group, as well as on Instagram at Shakeback Media Group. Make sure you visit our brand new website. It is as follows. The www.shakebackgroup.com. So make sure you guys go there and hit that button to subscribe on all of the channels as far as YouTube go. All right, so we talked about it in the intro. The NFL season, the week 3 roundup is here and upon us. And there were a lot of games, man, that really caught my attention. A lot of plays, a lot of players that made some headlines. And speaking of headlines, we got to get into this real quick because this news just came out on, I want to say it was on either Monday or Tuesday, in regard to wide receiver Josh Gordon. He has been reinstated by the National Football League once again and plans on signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Just in case you guys out there didn't know, I hate them. I hate the Chiefs. So this is another weapon in an already loaded gun. But how much of an impact is Josh Gordon going to really have? Are we going to see the Josh Gordon that was averaging 20 yards per reception? Or is this going to be a different version of Josh Gordon that is going to be more of a possession receiver? I happen to believe that it is the latter, but we shall see. He's got to learn the playbook. He's got to do all those things. He's got to get back into game shape. So for some people to seem to think that Josh Gordon is going to get up off the couch and walk out onto an NFL football field and instantly make a tremendous impact, I got another thing for you. So, yeah, that's not going to happen if you ask me. And I know you didn't, but I'm going to tell you anyway because that's just who I am and that's just what I do. So let's get to this week 2 or this week 3 roundup. I got to start in the AFC West with those Kansas City Chiefs. And shout out to Tony Tucker, who is a big-time Los Angeles Chargers fan. The Chargers went into Kansas City and knocked off those Kansas City Chiefs. And it was a dominating performance by one quarterback, Justin Herbert. Look, this dude, man, I didn't think he would be this good, this fast, coming out of Oregon, where he's in a shotgun all the time and have this type of impact. You remember last year, he came in after Tyrod Taylor had his lungs punctured by an accidental whatever it was, and all he did was go on and win rookie of the year after what? The 5th game was when he began starting. So for this game, he has great chemistry with Mike Williams because that last play to put them ahead with that touchdown instead of going for it or going for the field goal when they had 4th down, that actually was a running play. If you go back and look at the tape and look at how they interacted with each other, they were on the I want to say the 3 or 4 yard line, and it was supposed to be a running play. You could tell that the way that the line was lined up. But then he looked at Mike Williams. Mike Williams looked at him, and next thing you know, they put in the 6th spot on the board and taking the lead for good on those Kansas City Chiefs. So now the Chiefs are sitting at 1-2, and in a lot of people's power rankings, I'm not understanding why the Chiefs are still like number 9. Are we basing that, or are they basing that on what they've done before now, or are they basing that on what they think they're gonna do? They being the Chiefs, but right now, dude, they're struggling. They are struggling. I'm gonna tell you why they're struggling. Number one, they keep turning the ball over. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had another fumble against the Chargers. Patrick Mahomes had not thrown any interceptions in the month of September. Now all of a sudden he's got, I think, 2 in this last game. And then let's just give some credit to the Chargers, because the Chargers, along with the other division mate who I'm going to get to here in just a second, really and truly, I think the Broncos have it as well. But Bradley Chubb is out for the year with I think it's a pectoral injury. I'm not exactly sure, but I know he's out, or he's going to be out for a while at least. But the Chargers are one of only a few teams that can actually deal with that offense from Kansas City. And I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it 3 times, and I'm going to say it again. The Kansas City Chiefs receiver core, not wide receiver. Well, let's put it this way. Their entire pass catching unit outside of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce is average at best. Average at best. McCole Hardman, they need him to do something. Pringle, they need him to do something. Because this is what's going to happen. This is what the Raiders have shown us. This is what the Browns have shown us. This is what the Chargers have shown us. They've shown us that if you can get pressure with 4 and you can double up Tyreek and Travis and play zone everywhere else, hey, you got a recipe. And I understand you got to have a certain type of personnel to be able to do that. But there are only a few teams out there that actually have that ability to do so. And the Chargers are actually one of them. All right, so let's move on in the division as well. The Denver Broncos, they shook, rattled, and rolled and shut out the hapless New York Jets. The Jets are a dumpster fire rolling down the hill into a gasoline pond. That is what they are. And to go out to Denver, yeah, their defense is good. Justin Simmons returned one for a pick 6. Von Miller is still that dude, strip sacking and all those things. They have playmakers at every level. But the Jets are so bad. I mean, they don't have any real weapons that really scare you. I don't even know who their running back is. We know the quarterback because he was their first draft pick of this past draft. And I just look at it like this. Sam Darnold, really the Jets are showing that it wasn't Sam Darnold. They're showing that it was the Jets and the way that they handle business. But back to the Broncos. The Broncos are now sitting at 3-0. But here's the thing with the Broncos and their 3-0 record. Their opponent's combined record is the same number of wins that you and I have as NFL personnel. 0, 0-9. The Jets, the Jaguars, and the Giants. 0-9. So 3-0 can be looked at from various perspectives when you talk about the teams and who they played. Now, let's switch it over to the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders are in a position where they have not been since 2002. Oh, by the way, that's the year that the Raiders in Oakland went to the Super Bowl with Rich Gannon and Jerry Rice and Tim Brown and Charlie Garner and the former coach who they played in the Super Bowl, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with John Gruden. John Gruden said when he came back to the Raiders, I'm here because we have unfinished business. And the Raiders are 3-0. Now, contrast that with the Broncos 3-0. The Raiders 3-0 is against teams that all won 10 games or more last year. Pittsburgh, or in the first game, Baltimore Ravens. Then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then you have the Miami Dolphins. All three of those teams won a minimum of 10 games last year. And this is the first time in NFL history that a team has started with 3 teams or 3 wins against teams with 10 plus victories from the previous season. So when I see the Raiders not getting the love that the Chiefs are getting, are the Raiders not getting love because of what they've been or because of what they think they're going to turn into? I happen to believe that it's a little different this year. The defense is balling out of control. There's playmakers at every level. They are getting pressure on the quarterback with 4 people. Okay. So that's what that is. That is what that is. So when you think about it from that standpoint, right? I think the Raiders 3-0 is way more legit than the Broncos 3-0. For sure. Now, that's not to say that the Broncos are scrubs. They're going to miss KJ Hamler. He's going to be out for the year with the torn ACL. That came out on Monday, I believe it was. But they are tremendous in their own right. And Teddy Bridgewater is the exact quarterback that team needs. He may not be able to sling it down the field like Carl Herbert or Mahomes, but that dude is not going to lose the game for you. He's not. He's not. And he's going to be able to do just enough, if not more than enough, to keep that team in it with that defense. Their running game is good with Melvin Gordon. Outside of KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton is a dude. Okay. Jerry Jeudy is a dude. And that's who they are. That's what they do. But the Raiders, man, and then look, the Raiders and the Chargers, Monday night coming up. The Warzone Sports Network, we will be having a game watch or a game watch party. We encourage you to join us on YouTube as well as Twitter, because with me being a Raider fan, with Joe being a Raider fan, and with Tony being a Chargers fan, we're going to be like 3 brothers that's fighting over the last piece of candy, straight up and down on the real. That is what we're going to do. And I am looking forward to it. I am waiting to get involved with it. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. No, I'm not going to do that yet. I'll wait for that a little bit later on. So yeah. Also other games that really piqued my interest as well. What is going on with the Indianapolis Colts? They seem to not know how to play football anymore. Carson Wentz on 2 sprained ankles. That team looks bad. They look really bad. I mean, they look really, really bad. And this is what we did not expect from a Colts team. I actually picked them to win the South. So are we starting to find out whether is it Carson Wentz? I think it's Carson Wentz. And then, of course, let's move over to the Central, or I'm sorry, to the AFC North for the continuation of the Week 2 roundup. Cincinnati goes into Pittsburgh and beats the Steelers. The Steelers, yeah, they had that Week 1 win against Buffalo, but they have gone south ever since. Baltimore, okay. Side note here real quick. Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears played the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. We all know the story what Myles Garrett did. He had 4.5 sacks by himself. Justin Fields was 6 of 20 for 67 yards. The Baltimore Ravens and their kicker, Justin Tucker, he kicked the 66-yard field goal to beat the Detroit Lions. His one field goal on one play was almost as many yards as Justin Fields had the entire game. That's what Cleveland did to the Bears. That's what Cleveland did to the Bears. Cincinnati goes into Pittsburgh, and then, of course, the Ravens win. And out east, Buffalo Bills, they just throttled the Washington football team. The Washington football team has the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. Much of that, which is a surprise to almost everybody, because we rant and raved about how good or how great their front seven is. Okay. And they have just been getting killed. So I liken it to this. You don't play the games on paper. You do not play the games on paper. So they better get it straight, and they better get it straight in a hurry. The thing that they have going in their favor is that they play in a very, very bad division. By the way, let's talk about a couple more games before we move on to the next part of the show. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he's still that dude. And San Francisco on the Sunday night game did everything they needed to win that game, except finish the deal in terms of clock management. They scored with too much time left on the clock. 37 seconds. 37 seconds with one timeout, and Aaron Rodgers is pulling the trigger. I would have been nervous. I probably would have, if I were Kyle Shanahan, I would have told my team to just go ahead and run it into the middle, make them take their last timeout, and then go for the score on either like the second to last play or the last play. That's what I would have done. So Aaron Rodgers leads that team. He has some unbelievable throws over the outstretched hands of 49er linebackers in front of their secondary, just type of throws that only Aaron Rodgers can make. And shout out, man, to Mason Crosby for going out there, man, and hitting that field goal 54 yards. And a lot of people seem to think that Crosby may have been a little bit washed up. I was one of them. I had him on my fantasy team a couple years ago, and he was missing extra points like it was nobody's business. So the Rodgers-led Packers roll out to the Bay, and they get a huge win over the San Francisco 49ers. Keep an eye on that down the road, because that's going to be some implications as far as tiebreakers go, and that is just what that is. And then the Monday night game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, I'm pulling for Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I don't know if that team has the necessary weapons around him for him to flourish. I just don't think that they do. Miles Sanders, he's a good running back. They're wide receivers. They got Jalen Reagor. I mean, he's good. He doesn't really scare you. And on top of that, he's only in his second year. So that game, Dak Prescott, first game back in Dallas, playing in Dallas since the gruesome injury that we all witnessed in week 4 or week 5 last year against the Giants. All he did was go out and throw three touchdown passes. I think he was 22 out of 28 for more than 250 yards. Those 3 scores. He did have that fumble in the end zone that the Eagles did capitalize. Fletcher Cox causing havoc in the middle, strip sack, and then they recovered it in the end zone for a touchdown. But after that, they really were just outmatched. And Dallas is showing us that they are clearly the class team of that division. So that's your week 4 roundup, or week 3 roundup rather. So I hope you guys had fun with that, because I certainly did. And we're gonna go over to some we're gonna get into some. Okay, Mike, I see you. Let me put your comment up here. I forgot Mike is a Chargers fan too. My bad, Mike. But so it's gonna be me and Joe against Tony and Mike. We're gonna go at it, man. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be on and cracking 1 week from Monday. And look, that is what that is. I'm looking forward to it. Nothing like a good old-fashioned rivalry pie throwing, if you will. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, so let's get to the Shake Back Baller of the week in terms of high school. We have Jace Wyatt, wide receiver from the Red Oak Hawks. Of course, you guys know the Shake Back Media Group is covering that squad and has so all year. Unfortunately, Jace couldn't be on the show with us this time due to some scheduling conflicts, but we hope to have him back real soon. Maybe we'll have a combined effort next week with this week's Baller of the Week, or red hot Hawk of the Week, rather. We'll see how we will go from there. But in the game against first, they opened up the district play against Mansfield Legacy. And I know you guys, we're all over the world. Everybody's all over the world listening and watching this. Mansfield Legacy is a squad that's, of course, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. They have a squad that actually performed pretty well last year. The Hawks came into this having dropped their first 3 games, and the defense did not help the cause. I'm just gonna be real about it. Giving up more than 40 points in each of the first 3 games. Appreciate that. RMC BRB GB. I don't know what the heck that stands for. Evening to you as well, and I am doing well. I appreciate the well wishes. But anyway, back to what we were talking about as far as Jace Wyatt goes. In this game against Mansfield Legacy, he had 8 receptions for 169 yards, and count them, 1, 2, 3 touchdowns. If this dude was on a fantasy league team, do you know how many points that would have been? Tony, Joe, y'all some NFL fantasy football aficionados, calculate it up. How many points would Jace have had if high school players were allowed to participate in fantasy? That's why Jace is the actual red hot Red Oak Hawk of the Week. In actuality, this is he's been on the show once already, but actually I think he won the award the last time they had a game in a loss to Rockwall Heath. So anyway, congratulations to Jace. We'll get him on again real soon to talk about all of his expertise and how he shakes people in his pristine route running, because that kid can run some routes. Let me tell you this right now. And I'm going to tell you this too. Beware defensive coordinators for next year. He's only a junior. He's a junior. And the quarterback, Jalen Robinson, he's also a junior. So, yeah, they're going to be doing it for a minute. All right. Next thing I want to talk about here real quick is Major League Baseball, coming down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to be real brief on the baseball because I'm going to be having a full-fledged preview on the hashtag Brothers of Baseball show on the BGC Sports Network coming up real soon. Also going to be participating in a playoff preview with Big Rican Sports. That's my man Mike Martinez, who's actually a part of the hashtag Family of Baseball podcast that you can see everywhere or hear everywhere you get your podcast. So that's all good. But yeah, let's just talk about baseball for a minute. My Oakland A's, man, after sweeping the Houston Astros, and after the Astros have owned us. When I say owned us all year. Okay. Go in to Oakland, or they come into Oakland rather, the Astros, and they promptly get swept, giving me false hope. Fool's gold. It's a mirage, because I'm thinking the A's are going to make a miraculous comeback for the second wild card spot in the American League. But then a loss to Seattle on Monday. And a loss to Seattle on Monday after being up 3-zip. The Mariners and Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger hit 2 3-run home runs in the game on Monday, essentially sealing the fate of my A's in terms of a playoff push. And hey, you know what? You can't win them all. The A's have been to the postseason each of the last 4 years. And look, that's just what it is, man. That is just what it is. And like I said, man, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. I'm disappointed. Oh, okay. We got a okay, that stands for my 2 kids' name and mine too. GB. Oh, George. Okay, what's up, George? George, man, is a staunch supporter of the Shakeback Media Group, man. That includes Rachel Hill and her in the huddle out of Cleveland. I'm a guest host on her show on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. George be putting it down, man. Appreciate the chime in, George. Tony, I appreciate you telling me that is a 45 piece in fantasy football. So Jace, when you hear this, when you see this, yeah, you are also the fantasy league football baller of the week. And that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. But anyway, back to Major League Baseball. Yeah, my A's, man, it's a foregone conclusion that they're out of it. Just too many injuries, and not enough people performed up to the standard of which we expected, to include Matt Chapman at the dish. He has not raked anywhere close to what he did last season. Matt Olson has actually had a great year for him. I think he will be the MVP of the squad. But I think, man, yeah, you get Sterling Marte at the deadline along with Josh Harrison. You unload Frankie, not Montas. You unload, I can't even think of the pitcher's name that they traded to Miami to get Marte. But I think, man, the once strength of the A's team, the starting rotation and the bullpen, I think the rotation really kind of let us down because they hadn't been consistent all year. And then when Chad Bassett went out after taking that line drive to the dome, I think that really just kind of did something to the squad in terms of any confidence, I don't know. He's one of the leaders on that team as well. So it did something. It did something to that squad. All right. So before we actually get to the last part of the show, I also want to say about some Major League Baseball stuff in the fact that I think this is going to be one of the most exciting postseasons that we've seen. How about the St. Louis Cardinals and their 16-game winning streak here recently, and how they have just really put the San Diego Padres in their misery and in their coffin, because the Padres were officially eliminated from postseason contention. I believe that was on Sunday. And sorry, Padres, your starting pitching really let you guys down because you wasted an MVP type year from Fernando Tatis. And it's just kind of a shame that happened the way that it did. Okay. All right, so I got a part of the show, man. This is actually going to be the final part of the show. I have a part of the show where there's something that could be inside or outside of sports. And it really just makes me say or ask the question,
what'd he say? What'd he say? What'd he say? What'd he say?
And if you guys don't know who that voice is, that's Ice Cube, also known as O'Shea Jackson Sr., from the hit movie Friday, when him and Smokey had been smoking Big Worm's weed. And then Big Worm said he was going to kill Smokey and Craig. So Craig was like,
what'd he say? What'd he say?
I actually have two what he says. The first one comes from Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is the point guard or the two guard for the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn is in New York City, just in case you guys didn't know. That's your geography. That's your Ballers Report geography lesson for this episode. New York City has a citywide vaccination mandate, meaning basically that you have to have a mandate if you're going to be working in the indoors. We all know Kyrie's stance on the vaccination, amongst other things, to include saying at one time that the world was flat. So what does this mean? Since he's not going to get the vaccination, he can't play in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. That's 41 games. Okay, they're in the same division as the New York Knicks. The Knicks play in Madison Square Garden in Manhattan, which is where? In New York City. They'll probably play 2 games against them in the Garden. So that's now 43 games that you won't be able to play in. So the other city that has a vaccine mandate, San Francisco, where the Warriors play. So when the Nets roll out to Cali, they take that flight 504, like Puffy told Big in one of the songs from back in the day, flight 504, leaving JFK, LAX, or San Francisco rather. SFO. So when the Nets go to San Francisco, Kyrie can't play there. So now that is 44 games that he's not going to play in. Should he not, or should he continue his stance on the vaccination? What does that mean for Brooklyn? Can Brooklyn win a championship without Kyrie Irving? I venture to say no. So now, not only is he affecting the championship aspirations for a team that is obviously going to be favored to come out of the East again if he's there, that changes that dynamic wholeheartedly. But then let's talk about it from a humanistic standpoint. We saw what the pandemic did in 2020. We saw how one player for the Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert, touching microphones and desks and papers and all that stuff in the media rooms, how that shut down the NBA season for 4 months. Oh, by the way, you come back to a bubble and there's no fans there. But fast forward again to the season start of the 2021 year. No fans are in the seats until way after the vaccine has come out and people started getting it or what have you. So here's the thing for Kyrie Irving. You have to understand that what you do, or in this case, don't do, affects more than just you. Think about it. The league shut down for 4 months and then went essentially the entire year without one of their biggest revenue-making engines with fans in the seats. So what do you think the Nets are going to do? If I were the Nets, and if he stands by this, I would try to trade him. I'm not saying I would trade him to Philadelphia for Ben Simmons. Oh, God, no, I wouldn't do that. If I were the Nets, I surely wouldn't make that trade, not for Ben Simmons. But I would trade him. Go back to Cleveland. Trade him back to Cleveland. Cleveland got assets. I'm not sure if you want to. Well, I don't know. I don't know if Kyrie has a no trade clause, but if he doesn't, he can't control that anyway. But I'm thinking he does because he's a pretty smart dude. You know, he did go to Duke for a year. So, and then not only that, then there's Andrew Wiggins. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna go into Andrew Wiggins other than him saying that, yeah, that's worthy of this too.
Oh my God.
Nope, not that. That is not worthy of that. That is worthy of this.
What'd he say?
Andrew Wiggins said that I'm not going to get the vaccine because it is against my religion. That was promptly turned down. And oh, by the way, Andrew Wiggins plays in San Francisco with the Warriors. So he would be in the same boat as Kyrie is in. Can't play 41 games at home. Can't play anywhere on the road. Well, he can't play in New York and he can't play in Brooklyn. So that's another 2 games. So essentially that's more than half the season that he won't be available. Now, he's not the player that Kyrie is, but he means a little something to the Golden State Warriors. He really does. All right. And then my second, what'd he say? Did y'all hear what LeBron James said? LeBron James said that he was offered a contract by the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll and by Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. So the debate had begun. Could LeBron James, while they were locked out, going to play in the NFL for a year with either one of those teams or any team for that matter? I was like,
What'd he say?
My answer to that is no. Told you about coming around here messing with these people. Lead them people along in the NFL, dude. I don't care if you are 6'9" and 260. Dude, you haven't played football since high school. I liken that to this scenario. I don't know if you guys out there are wrestling fans, but I once was. Okay. So 1997 or 8, I want to say, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson had joined D-Generation X with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chyna. And they all in the ring celebrating whatnot that he became a part of DX. So then you hear the crashing glass. And out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin to the ring. And he tells Mike Tyson yo, you might be the baddest man on the planet, but I am the world's toughest son of a beep. And then they promptly got into it. What I'm saying is, you may be great in one ring, but you may not be nearly as good in another. And yeah, he's athletic, but I'm telling you right now, a 47-inch vertical jump is not going to help you in the NFL. Great vision, unless you're playing quarterback or running back, is not going to help you in the NFL. Being 6'9" and 260 will help you, but it won't make you be able to just be proficient at what you're doing in the National Football League. So that's what I have to say about that. I mean, you think about it from, I think, man, when people say that, and then look at it like this, Tim Tebow's first sport is football, but he couldn't make it as a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So y'all telling me that a dude that has not played played football since in high school, could actually have a tremendous impact in a positive manner for an NFL squad? You know what? That's just crazy. That's just crazy. And not only is it just crazy, I think it's kind of disrespectful, man, to those kids or to those guys that actually work hard, do all the things that they have to do to go out there and train and get ready for a season. I'm telling you right now, for all y'all out there that says LeBron James can do it, I need you to do this.
Shut up! Shut up!
Just shut up. All right. Time flies, ladies and gentlemen, when you're having fun. Unfortunately, I am out of it. So with that being said, this is Willie Epting Jr. Make sure y'all go on and smash the subscribe buttons for YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on all the podcasting platforms. And we'll talk to y'all again real soon. Y'all take care of each other. Y'all love each other. Y'all hug each other. And we will. Bittersweet Symphony. I'll let y'all again real soon. Peace. I'm out.